Hi guys, welcome to this Serie A Squad Builder with a 10k budget in mind from FIFA Extra. I'm just going to go through each player one by one, give you a quick look at their stats and a guidance on what kind of price you'd expect to pay in the FUT market today. All prices are based on PS3 prices, which will be fairly similar to the Xbox prices anyway, and as the season goes on, expect them prices to drop a little bit as well. So we'll start first off with the goalkeeping position. Jose Reina from Napoli this year. Just a good all-around keeper really, nothing to write home about. I'm not the biggest fan of him in real life, but at 83 overall he's got decent stats in positioning, reflexes, diving, all in the sort of mid-80s. Kicking's good, but I don't think that's too important anyway. But just a decent cheap keeper in Serie A really for 1,200 coins. Next up at right back is Conco. Not the best defensively at 77. Not the greatest at heading either. But the one thing that I think is important for a right back to have is pace, which is right up there at 86. And obviously he's got decent stats to go forward as well, decent technical stats in passing, and decent dribbling stats as well. So he goes straight in the team at 900 coins. Next up is Benatia for Roma. Not the sort of quickest centre back I've put in my sort of budget squads, but 73 is really the sort of best out there for budget players in Serie A. There's not much to choose from in this kind of sort of value range. So Benatia is there. Still 73 is not that not exactly slow. But the big thing here for him is the 84 stat in defending. Defenders, who cost like 5,000, 6,000 coins normally have this kind of stat, so that's really important, I think. So a good strong defender there for only 1,200 coins. His partner at centre back, Jesus from Inter Milan. Sort of as soon as the game came out this year, and I looked at the squads, this guy sort of to my eye, thinking great, a good cheap centre back. He's kind of like the dead eye of last year. 79 pace, 79 defending, 80 heading. He's not world class, but he's a good cheap Brazilian centre back that can go in many squads, and he is really very popular on the game. But surprisingly, he is fairly common in packs, so he's really cheap at 600 coins. Next up is Constant, the left back for Inter Milan. Like Conco really. Defending and heading stats, nothing to write home about, but the guy is quick at 83 and has good technical and dribbling stats as well. So unfortunately Constant isn't as cheap as the other players. He'll cost you a bit more because he is really the only left back option in Serie A. All the others are either expensive silver players or Radu, who's I don't think is anywhere near as good as Constant, so you may as well pay that bit extra to get him. And unfortunately he'll cost you 1,700 coins, which bumps up the sort of total budget a bit as well. But he's your only option really, so you've got to go for it. Next up is De Jong, the ex-Man City central defensive midfielder. I liked him at City, just good aggression, guy that loves to tackle, and his defensive stats back that up. At 66 pace, it makes him look like he's slow, but because he is sort of quite a small guy anyway, he does get around the pitch still fine. It's not like he's some big sort of 6'5" lump that you can't sort of move around. Good passing stats as well, or at least decent for a defensive midfielder. And decent heading stats as well, so he's sort of just an easy choice here really at 800 coins. Next up is Valero for Fiorentina. Again, not the quickest guy, but 69 pace means he can still get around the pitch at a decent rate. But the main thing here is his technical stats. 86 passing. You won't find many players with that kind of technical ability at this kind of price. So he's really good value there, and the dribbling as well. And his shooting is not too bad for a central midfielder. So Valero is actually really good value, 1,000 coins. Next up is actually my favourite player in the team. I've sort of loved playing a few games with him. Sort of, he feels like Dembele does really at Tottenham. The way he sort of glides across the pitch. He's got really good balance, really good agility. Obviously, he's got great pace as well. And his passing stats aren't that bad. They're not the best for a central midfielder, but that it's kind of what you want for a guy that's just going to burst out of the defence and sort of bring your team up on a counter attack. And that's all you want from a cam like this, really. So Emmanuelson is really good value, and it will only cost you 500 coins. Next up, I've put him in the right wing position, but I know obviously his centre forward on the game, but because of his pace, I'd actually prefer him out on the wing. He's quite a small guy as well, so he can get knocked off the ball if you put him in a central position. But he's got really good sort of winger traits, and I'm surprised he's not a winger, to be honest. 91 pace, like I say, really good shooting as well as you'd I guess expect from a centre forward, but decent for a winger. And really good dribbling as well. So again, like Emmanuelson, I love playing with this guy. Sort of really good agility as well. So if you can afford the chemistry hit, I'd definitely put him out on one of the wings, and he'll cost you 1,400 coins. Next up, the striker position. I've decided to go with a target man as opposed to pace, as there is some guy, which I'll go to in a minute, who can be a speedster up top in Serie A, but I quite like Higuain here. That 84 overall, you don't find many strikers that good at this kind of price. Decent pace. He's not the slowest, but he's not the quickest. Good shooting, decent dribbling, decent heading, and sort of just an all-around forward, really. And just good value at 1,500 coins. Next up, the left winger Asama from Juventus. I think he's a really good player on this game, actually. Really sort of underrated. I don't see him in that many teams, and I'm surprised because of his price as well. So great, not the fastest winger, but decent pace, decent shooting, good technical abilities, good passing, good dribbling, and again, like, his defensive and heading stats are also good. So he does suit a left midfielder a bit more, but I don't see any problem with playing him up top at left wing, because he does have good shooting stats as well. So Asama is a good choice here at 1,200 coins. Next up, a sub goalkeeper. If you don't like Reina, DeSantis from Roma will only cost you a little bit less. Nothing again to write home about. Kind of the opposite to Reina, actually. Here, he's got very similar stats. They're all a little bit lower, except from the kicking, which is terrible. But that's actually more of what I want out of a keeper, and it kind of in this game makes him almost pretty much equal to Reina, to be honest. So either one of these guys will do in goal, and you can get DeSantis for 800 coins. Next up is Zapata at centre back. Just in case you want a different option to Benatia, really. They both have the same pace. Zapata's just a little bit weaker in defence, really. So if you want to play 5 at the back and have 3 central defenders, then Zapata's another sort of really good valid option for 900 coins. Next up, in another centre midfield option, Inla. Again, he's kind of a little bit the same as Valero, just a little bit weaker, really. Sort of similar passing, similar shooting stats. I think you just get more of a box-to-box midfielder, as he's sort of decent at defending as well, and not that great technically, but just another good sort of all-round midfielder for 800 coins. And then moving on to another right wing option. If you can't afford to take the chemistry hit, then Calajan is a decent option there. Sort of just what you want from a winger, really. Really good pace, and sort of decent dribbling stats. He's not very good technically, not the greatest shooting, a terrible passer for a midfielder. But for any sort of speedster fans out there, he's a good option at 800 coins. Next up is Javinho. Not the biggest fan of him in real life, because of his time at Arsenal and him being terrible. But in the game, he actually has really nice stats. Really good pace, decent dribbling, but he doesn't offer you the whole package like Asamoah offers you. Awful defending, awful heading. He's quite weak as well. Can get knocked off the ball quite easily. So I think that's why he's a non-rare as well this year. So he'll only cost you 500 coins if you want a maybe quicker option. Moving on now to Rossi. I kind of wanted him to fit him in the squad, but I just didn't really know where to put him because of the formation I've got set up. But I think he goes easily into your formation if you're playing a 4-2-3-1 and have 3 cams in there. And if you can afford to take the hit and afford to get a card to move him to cam, then it's probably worthwhile. He is a really good player, a good all-around centre forward. 80 pace, 82 shooting, 82 dribbling. He is a quality player, and if I could have fitted him to the team, I would have. And he will only cost you about 1,000 coins. Move on to my speedster up top, L'Oreal. That's all he is really. Great pace, great dribbling, and to be fair, he's not that bad at shooting either. He's just a little bit on the light side, so can get knocked off the ball quite easily. But I'm guessing if you want a fast guy up front, that's not, you won't be looking to break through defences. He's just good for someone to send them chip free balls to, basically. And he's cheap as well at 1,400 coins. And another option as well. Again, I could have really put this guy in instead of Higuain, really. Better pace, decent shooting as well, decent passing, decent dribbling. I just prefer Higuain just because he's just all around a little bit better than Palacio. But if you're playing like 2 or 3 guys up top, then Palacio and L'Oreal could be decent other options as well. And Palacio will only cost you 1,100 coins. And that concludes the squad for Serie A 10k with a 10k budget. Hopefully that's been helpful to anyone who's starting out with a Serie A team, and starting off on FIFA. Make sure you check out other videos on FIFA Extra. There's another squad builder with a bigger budget for Serie A, and maybe if you want to venture into other leagues, there's other squad builders to support them too. So good luck with building this squad. Hope you've enjoyed it, hope you found it helpful, and thanks for watching.